What's up, restaurant owners? It's Coach Mike here again. And today's lesson, I want to tell you to stop reading resumes. That's right. Resumes are fiction, guys. I want to tell you about somebody I hired from a resume, completely from a resume, and he ended up robbing me blind. 3 weeks on the job is when I found out everything. And this is just because I was desperate to hire people. And this guy was just stealing stuff out my back door. I also found out he was stealing people's credit cards. And he was stealing actually multiple credit cards. He just got arrested. Anyways, we fired him. He was gone just like that. And what was left was I was just standing there short-staffed. I was stressed out, starting the whole thing all over again, just because I hired somebody that just showed up at the interview. I basically hired a piece of paper is what I did. I didn't even care anything he said. Just he showed up to the interview, so basically you're hired. But I knew something was off the whole time. Nobody was showing up for interviews, so this is what was happening. I was desperate. I ignored everything in my gut, and I hired whoever came to the interview. And that's a trap that most people fall into, and most of my clients fall into as well. This is what people are doing right now, right this second. A lot of my clients that I bring in, this is exactly what they're doing. But today, I'm going to show you exactly how I hire now and how I teach my clients to hire. This is the number one question I get asked all the time is, how do I hire better? And, people don't show up for interviews and things like this. I'm going to show you guys some incredible numbers that these are 100% true by switching to this hiring technique that I've developed and all my clients have, and it's changed their whole hiring process 360. Okay. So after the disaster of hiring this guy, I knew that I needed a totally, completely different approach to how I screen people even before the interview. I was at a Tony Robbins type of, I know Tony, but I was in like a Tony Robbins sort of seminar. But when the thing ended, I got a link from a text number, and this link was asking me to record a video for reference for that actual seminar. I clicked it, a face appeared, on my screen. It was just some guy asking me questions, and I recorded my answer, and I just clicked next, and that was the end of that. As I was doing this, I was thinking, I said, why am I not doing this for hiring? This is an amazing tool that's not used properly. This app is called VideoAsk. VideoAsk, it's one word. Within a week of me submitting that, I had wired this into my entire hiring process. Within a month, I never, ever hired the old way again, ever again. And this completely changed my whole operation around. Now, currently, every single one of my clients, they run the same exact system that I use, every single one of them. And it's not optional. This is mandatory if you're going to be working with me. And it's not a suggestion. It's 100% non-negotiable. VideoAsk now is part of the hiring process, just because of what I've seen, what happens when owners use it, and what I've seen when owners do not use it at all. So for any of you guys that have never heard of VideoAsk, it's basically an app that just lets you record yourself asking questions. That's all it is. And you send that link to applicants. They open it on their phone, they see your face on the camera asking them a question, and then they have to respond to it. That's it. Video or audio. There's no texting. There's no multiple choice. They have to actually do the work. They actually have to show up and answer the questions in real time. And that was the last part of my entire game, because that's what I figured out really fast. That's what my coaching clients figured out the second they implemented it. Most applicants do not complete this at all. And this is not really the problem. This is actually the filter. Okay. The ones that bail on filling out this form, on answering 4 simple questions, basically from their couch, these are the ones that are going to bail on you when it counts. Friday nights, holiday weekends, your busiest shift of the year, any busy holiday, those are the ones that are going to bail. The ones that actually sit down, look at the camera, answer every single question, these are your people. They just showed you their work ethic before their very first interview. And what are the 4 questions that I ask on the VideoAsk to anybody that wants to work for me? It's the same 4 questions I have every single one of my coaching clients asking, okay? And I want you to understand why each one is there, because none of them are random. These are very well thought out questions. These are all behavioral based questions. All right, question 1. So question 1 of my VideoAsk is, tell me one thing you do outside of work that you're genuinely passionate about. Not what sounds good, but what actually gets you fired up. See, I'm not asking about hobbies. I'm looking for energy, okay? I'm looking for somebody who lights up the room when they talk about something that they care about. Could be anything. Could be like video games. It could be like playing guitar, anything, because that's energy and that's real. And this will show up on the video. You're going to be able to see it. The second question is, tell me the worst job you've ever had and what made it bad and how do you handle it? This is a great question, by the way. This is where you actually start seeing people's personality. Every applicant, of course, everybody had a bad job, right? Like the ones that blame everybody else, like the manager, the schedule, the owner, the other staff, 100% that's a red flag, okay? The ones that say, it was hard, but here's what I did. The ones that don't put blame on anybody else. These are the people that you want to lean towards. My clients right now, they always tell me that this second question alone, this always eliminates about half their applicants. All right, question 3. You're in the middle of a Friday night rush, right? A guest gets super aggressive. They raise their voice. They're making a scene. Walk me through exactly what you would do in this situation. And on this question, we want to see composure. We want to see a maturity. We want to see like the hospitality instinct. Do they panic? Like, do they get offensive? Do they try to de-escalate? Do they try to protect the guest experience? You can train a lot of things, but you can't train somebody to stay calm. You just can't. And you definitely don't want to. You don't want to spend time training people's personalities. It just doesn't work. All right, question 4. So if you have a regular guest that comes in and complains like every single visit, nothing's ever right. They're always bitching about their steak is not done. They're always sending the food back. How do you approach that person every time they walk in? Every time you see them walking in the door, what do you do? Okay. So this question now, this separates servers from salespeople, right? So the average person will just tolerate it, like everybody else does. But the great ones that you want, these are the ones that make it a challenge. They actually will turn that complainer, that person that bitches about everything, into their biggest fan. These are the people that they're going to know by name, that guest is going to know them by the first name. They're going to exactly know how to handle them. That's going to be their personality. So this is something that most owners miss. Like I watch these responses differently depending on the position. And I teach this with my coaching clients all the time. And I want you guys to do the exact same thing. Okay. So for example, like a house. High energy. You're looking for high energy. You're looking for loyalty. You're looking for like a family mentality. Someone like who is not afraid to get into the thick of it on a busy night. Someone who's not afraid to grind out with everybody on the team. Okay. Because the back house is really like a really, really strong team. So if one person breaks, everybody's going to feel it. Like you need somebody that's tough. You need somebody that's committed. That's what you're looking for back of the house. And you're going to be able to see that on these VideoAsk videos. Front of house is a little different. You're looking for salespeople. Okay. You're looking for people that are not shy on camera. Because if you can't look into a phone and you can't answer 4 questions, then you're not going to be able to look at my guest in the eye and upsell something. You're just not. Front of house is performance. It's theatrics. It's theater. So you want coachable, confident. You want hungry people that are going to get the job done. You don't want shy. Okay. Same 4 questions, but you want completely different views on according to what position you're hiring for. Okay. In this type of hiring, it'll bring your applicants, it'll bring them to a whole nother level. I promise you this. Okay. The setup is super simple. So I walk every coaching client through this the very first week that they sign up with me. This is a very, very important thing. Okay. So obviously go to VideoAsk.com, they have a free account, and then you just start recording yourself answering each question. You ask each question. I'm sorry. And the whole thing takes about 20 minutes. You get a link, you copy that link, and then you take that link and you paste it everywhere on your Indeed postings, on your website, on the careers page on your website. Everybody that applies automatically gets this link. You just you set up an auto response and everybody gets a link. So you basically just set it up once and then it just runs forever. Whenever anybody completes a VideoAsk, even if they don't complete it, you get a notification. I usually look at mine in the morning when I have my coffee. It takes like 10, 15 minutes. You go through them all. And you know more about that person in those like 15 minutes than you would setting up interviews and sitting there for a half hour for every interview without any of this going on. Like how many people waste their time and energy going to interviews and people don't even set up? They don't even show up for the interview at all. All right. So the numbers, this is what's going to make you guys mental about this. Okay. So every single one of my clients always tells me this. They're always at like almost 100% of people that show up at their actual real interviews get hired. So for example, before VideoAsk, you had 20 people applied, maybe 2 would show up, right? So that's like 10%. But not only that, but you're spending hours, you're scheduling things, you're following up, you're waiting for people to come around that ghosted you. People just don't show up, they're making excuses. They're not sending you texts back. So you waste the whole day. But after VideoAsk, after we set this thing up, everybody that we invited to the interview showed up. It was almost 100%. Almost 100%. Do you know why it's almost 100%? Because they've already invested in you. Like they already jumped through that little hoop. They've recorded themselves. Like they showed up on camera. They did the hard part. So by the time you text them for an interview, they're not really an applicant anymore. Like they're committed to that. Like they already did the hard work. And about 85% of the people that come in to interview, they get hired. I went from like chasing ghosts to building a team. And my clients did the same exact thing. They went from chasing ghosts to building killer A-player teams. Same job posting, same market, just completely different results. And what was the difference? You made them jump through one little tiny hoop. Look, Hiring is never going to be perfect. We all know that. You're going to make mistakes, and everybody still makes mistakes. I still make mistakes. My client still makes mistakes, but you want to bring that gap very, very small. For example, the guy that robbed me that I was talking about in the beginning, he would have never made it past the video ask. Never. Because he would never be able to look in the camera and answer like honest questions like that. He would never be able to answer any behavioral based interview questions because we would have been able to see right through it. Right? I want loyalty. I want commitment. I want people that are going to jump through hoops. That's what I want in my restaurant. And that's who my clients want in their restaurants as well. If you guys are watching this, set this up this week, link it to your Indeed ad, link it to your website. Next time you're looking at a giant pile of applications, this high, then I already know, like, you already know who you're going to hire. Guys, I'm Coach Michael. Subscribe if you love what you're hearing. If you guys have any questions, just put some comments in, like, reach out to me. I answer every single question. I'll help you guys out. I love doing it. Okay. If you guys love what you're doing, subscribe, but only subscribe if you have VideoAsk set up. All right. All right. We'll see you guys in the next one.